Hi, welcome to Marty and Shane, Lifted and Twisted, stories without borders and joy without limits. This is where hearts meet across culture and everyday life becomes a story worth telling. I'm Shane.
And I'm Marty. Thank you all for being here with us today. We have an interesting interview because I'm going to interview Shane because she has just moved from California to Texas and she's going to tell us all about it so you can learn if you have to move, maybe what you should and should not do. Okay? So here we go. Is that okay, Shane?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the first question is, I'm so happy that you're closer to Florida, which is where I am. And what I wanted to ask today is, I know moving is one of the big top, what is it, top three things that is the most stressful in our lifetime here. So congratulations for living through that, still looking beautiful and doing great. So share with us a little bit, and then I'll just ask questions as we go. But share with us, some of your experience that you've just gone through over the past week or so.
The moving experience itself, it's good. But with the moving company that I have chosen, I feel really stupid. I trusted my gut feeling because he was extremely nice and I thought, okay, you know what, this is the company that I'm going to go with. But at the end, I realized that he was a broker. Okay, and they work with multiple moving carriers, which the moment we paid him, he could not be found.
Jeez, yikes.
And so whatever problems or troubles that we had, we could not find him, or no one in the company would answer the phone. So,
So lesson
but
number
yeah,
one, don't
yeah,
give the companies all your money. Do a deposit, maybe, and then when you receive everything, you do the other half of it or something. Would you agree with that?
yeah. So he did call it a deposit. Okay, and so we did give him that deposit. And so I didn't think anything was weird until when the carriers came to pick up our stuff. They said, well, you're taking a lot more volume than what it is on this quote, right? This is it. But he's like, this is just an estimate. Okay, so it was up to $4,000. And then when the carriers came to look at our stuff the day of, okay, and he said, you're taking up a lot more volume. And so you need to pay extra $4,000. And
Yikes!
I was like, look, if I was told, in the beginning, then I could have budgeted everything a lot better, but that's way over my price range, right? And so I can't pay that 3,004K, but how do we solve this problem? Because I already paid like 2,000 something to the broker, and that I didn't know initially until when the carriers came. He's like, well, that's the broker gave you an estimate. An estimate doesn't mean that that's the actual price. Okay. And I was like, my gosh. Okay. So they came around like 7 or 8 in the morning, and I thought they would be done by noon, but they did not start putting things in the truck until we had finalized how much more I would pay. And so we had to fork out an extra 3K, $2,000. But then to them, it's like, you know what? I gave you a discount. So if you don't want to do it, then we're going to leave. But we're ready to move, right? So we have to fork out this money, and then we already paid like $2,000 deposit. I thought it was all the same company, but it's not. And the funny thing was, the carrier is one company, and the people who deliver is another company. So we paid three different companies to do this entire move.
Wow.
And they told us that, oh, it's going to take 4 to 7 days for your stuff to arrive. And so after about 2 weeks, I was like, this is weird. No one called, right? And so I
Wait, wait,
called
wait,
them. They're like,
wait, wait. They told you 4 to 7 days, and you waited for 2 weeks before there was anything.
right, because they said business days. And then we had Thanksgiving. So I skipped that day. So I gave them like an extra like 2 to 3 days, right? So it's about 2 weeks. And I called them. They're like, well, we don't have a driver. So your stuff is still in California. And I said, how come no one called me to tell me this? You know, and they're like, oh, I apologize. And I was
Do
like,
you
your
want
apology
to
doesn't make
share?
anything.
Do you want to share the company's name?
Um, yes. Okay, so
Because
the
it is
broker,
your experience. This is not hearsay. This is what really happened.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So the broker is called MoveWise. Okay, so guys, do not go with MoveWise. Okay, and then the mover, I forgot the movers company. I think they're called the M&R moving company or storage or something like that. But the thing is, they have a business address in Texas. So I actually looked up that address when I arrived in Texas, and it was a residential address.
Jeez.
And I tried to Google them online. I should have done this in the beginning, but we were in such a rush, and I just really trusted MoveWise, so I didn't do any of these things. Okay, and yeah, nothing on Google came up. Nothing.
Well, you know what? We're all living through lessons, and especially in today's world. So I'm just grateful at this moment, after hearing all of that, Shane, that you do have your things. And everything, was anything broken? Was anything missing?
Nothing was missing, but things were kind of broken. It wasn't like broken apart, but it was just like loose, from how it was attached to like my desk and stuff like that. But yeah, because we told them we're not gonna pay the final bill until you move all the stuff, right? They're like, no, you have to pay before we move things out of the truck. But what if something's broken? Who do we go after? No one. Because whoever delivered the stuff to us, so it's like three people. I paid the broker, and then I paid the people who picked up, and then I paid the people who delivered.
Wow. Wow. And the people that delivered were the ones that said, no, we're not moving anything from the truck until we get paid.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah, they have to do that, I'm sure, because they don't get paid then,
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
right.
Wow. I'm sorry that you had that experience. That's terrible. It
I
really is.
mean, yeah, even though we had to fork out a lot more money than expected, but I just thought, well, at the end of the day, we received everything, even though some things are kind of broken, but that's okay. Everything is fine and things can be replaced, right?
Well, I was going to say that what happens to you after a while, probably, is you just feel like, I just want my stuff. I don't care if it's scratched or, I just want it, as opposed to not having it because you were kind of camping out in your new home
Yes.
without things, right? Oh my goodness.
I mean, we try to make the best out of it. We brought some blankets and then we just slept on the floor. And I think my dog and my cat, they did the best that they could. And I think it's a little harder for Milky Way because he's a little older and we're moving from Airbnb to another Airbnb while driving to Texas, right? And he's kind of very anxious, and so when we got to the house, um, he never peed inside the house, but he started peeing inside the house. And I was like, okay, he's not used to this place, and he's just, out of his character. But
Well,
my cat adapted really well.
you know what, though? Maybe what he was doing was marking his territory because somebody else had left a smell. And I think that's kind of a natural thing for dogs to say, like, no, this is my domain now. I'm here. This is mine. If he smelled somebody else. So maybe that's why. I
That's
don't
what
know.
I thought, because
Yeah.
this house has a doggy door to go outside to the yard, but it's
Okay.
too high for him because Milky's too short. But
My,
then, so I was just,
he needs a
I was
stairway.
assuming I need to make a little step for him so he can go through his doggy door.
Exactly. Wow. Wow.
But
I'm sorry.
everything is good.
That's good. Well, thank you for sharing that because, what we really want to do is build a channel, guys, that we can share either something that's happened to us or something that's happened to you, and that's why being able to stick together and be able to share everything that's going on in your world and our world will only help us do things and think of things and find ways of making it better than it is. So, yeah, that's Shane. Thank you for sharing that because I think that will help somebody out here that's listening to it, and maybe they won't have to go through that experience again. But
Yeah,
just to
I think,
summarize everything, first of all,
everyone do your research, right? Because,
yeah,
like, I didn't do too much research because I've never moved cross state and I've always moved myself. So, everything was just simple. But this time we thought we need to hire someone because we're moving cross states. And what a great experience, though. I mean, a learning lesson. So do
learning
your
lesson.
research. Yeah, do your research. And then if someone can refer you, I think that would be the best.
Well, I'll tell you, just to add on to that story, when we moved from Pennsylvania down to Florida, we also used a moving company, but this moving company that we used had moved us across town when we were living in Pittsburgh. So it moved us, so we knew them, and they're a company that is, small business owned, but a lot of the family work in the company. So, and actually when we moved down here, we moved we were supposed to have our things the day Hurricane Wilma hit in 2007. Okay. And so it was that day we were supposed to move in. And they called me the day before and said, "Hey, we want to get out of Florida tonight. So can we come a day early?" I said, "Yes, thank you." So they actually had a few other people. They were in Fort Lauderdale and we're here in West Palm. So they had a couple other people they had to see that was further south. So they came the day before, and the next day we got hit, and there was no electricity, no running water. We fortunately have a boat, so we went and we had everything we needed right on board, which is great about having a boat. But yeah, so moving is a big deal, and it's the only way that you can actually, I feel like in today's world, make a good decision about who's helping you and what's happening is if you go with a company certainly that has everything. They have their own trucks, they have their own people. If it's small business, I even like to really have them even better than a big corporation because it means more to them to do a good job usually. So but the next move you make is Texas to Florida, right?
Florida was my other choice, but the humidity was just way too high, and I thought,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
let me go to Texas. Let me get used to the humidity first. Yes. But funny with this move, after we received our stuff, Mike and Jacob both said, if we move, we're doing it ourselves.
Yes. Yes. Amen. Amen to that. Okay. Well, this is good. And is there anything you want to add before we close off for this podcast?
No, I think just everyone needs to. There's so many people that's scamming people nowadays. I wouldn't say I got scammed, but it was just my lack of knowledge to these things. So everyone just, keep checking, Google, and then do as much research as possible and not have to go through what I have gone through.
Amen. Thank you, Shane. And just for all of you to know, wherever you are, your story is important to us. So email us and give us, and Shane's going to give you that email information, and get a hold of us because we care about you and we want to connect it, all of us together. Okay? We love you. Take care. Until next time.